The November election is just a few weeks away. It will be business as usual at the polls, but there is an effort by Republican state legislators to change voting laws for future elections. This week, some GOP lawmakers are citing a poll that came out last May. They say proves Michiganders support their efforts. Democrats say that's not true. 13 on your side's Morgan Trowse in the Information Center to verify. Morgan, what did you confirm?
Val, Democrats say the proposed changes will make it more difficult to vote. And they say some Republicans are being dishonest about the poll findings. So who is right? Let's verify.
Our question stems from a tweet by the Michigan Senate GOP account. Republican Senator Tom Barrett shared results from a poll from the Detroit Chamber of Commerce.
They show their photo ID card to vote, something that is supported by about 80% of voters in Michigan.
He is using this statistic in defense of Senate Bill 303, a new proposed voting law that critics say would make it much harder to vote. Our sources for the story are the Michigan legislature, the president and CEO of the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, Sandy Barua, and the Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson.
Does that have to do with certain legislation?
I want to be very careful and clear that we did not poll on specific legislative language.
Before we address the answer, we must first address the laws. Currently, Michigan requires an ID to vote, but people can vote in person without photo ID if they sign a form saying they do not have one with them at the polls. Bill 303 would no longer allow this. The only way people who don't have an ID can vote is to cast a provisional ballot. To make the provisional ballots count, the voter would have to appear at the clerk's office within 6 days of the election and present photo ID. The bill adds a signature matching provision for in-person voting. Untrained poll workers would have to compare signatures, and the bill gives them the ability to reject anyone for not matching the digital signature with the paper one. Now, onto the poll. The Glenn Gariff poll, commissioned by Barua and the Chamber, was completed in May of 2021. It was answered by 600 Michiganders, and the question was asked exactly how it was written. Do you support or are you opposed to require that every voter coming to the polls present a government-issued identification to cast their ballot? In fact, the poll just under that is another question relating to tightening voter restrictions. Have you seen or heard anything about these efforts in Michigan? More than 70% had not heard anything regarding the proposed voting laws.
A lot of additional hurdles that someone needs to jump through in order to simply cast their vote.
Secretary Benson says only a select amount of voters don't have a traditional ID, about 0.2%. They are able to verify their residency another way.
People like to cherry pick their facts to suit their situation.
We can verify that the statistic is being used in a misleading way and requires context. Yes, nearly 80% of Michigan voters are in support of having some kind of identification. But we can verify that the way the statistic is being used by the GOP in support of Bill 303 is not accurate.
So far, Governor Whitmer has vetoed similar voting law legislation. She says not only will this disenfranchise voters, but they will falsely confirm beliefs that voter fraud happened in the 2020 election. Michigan has conducted more than 250 audits and found no fraud. Across the country, members of both parties have said claims of widespread voter fraud are baseless. If you have something you'd like the 13 on Your Side Verify team to look into, send us an email at verify@13onyourside.com. You can also text the word verify to 616-559-1310.